and he has gone.
Yeah.
And he has gone before us. Not that you're not also going, but it's yours gone before us. And thus we believe that we will unite. But his spirits, just as the spirits of those great Pan-Africans who lived with us, is still alive.
And we send our, and just like you said, we send our condolences to the family, you know, to ODM, to his colleague within the broad-based government, the president, his brother. We also send condolences to the people of Kenya that really loved Raila. You know, we're surely going to miss Raila. But we will not forget what he stood up for. We will always keep his ideals in our hearts. Democratic ideals especially. And I'm very happy to have you here, Pidgin, because you're a young man. You've had a stab in this presidential conversation. You've been on the ballot before. I know you're going to be on the ballot again. And how would you summarize Raila Odinga's role in Kenya's modern history? What do you think are his greatest contributions and achievements?
Raila Odinga has actually, Raila has lived in many generations, but Raila Odinga has took over the mantle for what he call fight for democracy, which I believed in, ideally, fight for justice and the rule of law, what we call constitutionalism. And beyond that, Raila, I think, has been fighting for the welfare of the people, because if you talk of justice, it's justice to the people. I would like to say that the entire leadership of today are product of Raila Odinga. There's the same way they say Moi will rule, or they were product of Moi. When Moi left leadership, they became the product of Raila. You know, very in history, both Uhuru Kenyatta, both William Ruto, Kalonzo Musyoka have once worked with Raila Odinga. And the entire leadership that you have today, almost 80% of it, elected currently, has ever passed through Raila's hand, one or the other.
Of course.
So basically, this is his leadership.
Yeah.
And he has lived to see his offsprings in leadership. He has always walked to guide them and correct them so that they don't miss the path. But beyond that, Raila has given a constitution that is fought for, and that he is proud to see his fruits, and he has always been there to guide so that the spirit of the constitution, the 2010 constitution, is followed to the latter. So Raila has carried the spirit, not the text of the constitution. He has carried the spirit in his heart, and he has always reminded us several times what really was the spirit of constitution. He has given us something we'll never forget.
It's amazing how you put it. At the same time, the people who came up with a lot of misconceptions, all these, I don't want to say myths, but very sadistic things that they said about the former prime minister, especially towards the later stages of his life. Most guys were very, very disappointed due to the fact that he got into a handshake with the former president and even the current president. So what are some of these misconceptions that we need to unpack for the future generations to get it right?
I want my generation to see Raila Odinga as a father leading a family outside an oppressive regime. Just the same way Moses was to guide his people of Israel outside Egypt to Canaan. All through, there was temptations and struggle in the wilderness. And we have been moving in the wilderness several times with Raila Odinga, that inherited a struggle from his father, who has been trying to reach us to this space that we want to be, the Kenya we want. And for a period of time, he has reached in the wilderness where he could compromise for his kids to still survive and have the energy to recoup and move forward. And therefore, several times that he has joined government, or several times that he has worked with various government, it's just time to buy time and energy so that he can continue with the struggle. It should not be judged that Raila Odinga forgot the struggle, because history has told us several times that Raila joined Moi and walked out. Raila joined Kibaki and walked out. Raila joined Uhuru and Raila joined Ruto. He has joined and walked out, which means he has just been taking some space to re-energize and keep the struggle. For the period of time, don't judge him on the branches or the shelter he has made, because sometimes he needs shelter for his generation, for his family, and for his soldiers. But those shelters should not be assumed as his destination, because history has told us he's never made them destination. He's always come out and continue the fight. And he has continued fighting and walking. At this particular moment, it happens that we are losing Raila when he is actually at the shelter. So that we can re-energize. And therefore, the people who believe in Raila, should realize that Raila was just re-energizing. Raila was just getting a space to re-energize and get the people enough energy to continue the struggle.
Right.
And therefore, we should not make the shelter the destination. It was just a resting point, and the struggle and the journey continues.
Yeah.
And we will reach there. We haven't reached there.
Yeah, it's interesting you put it like that, because most in a lot of his conversations, especially when he engaged with Kenyans, he kept on saying, you know, where we're supposed to reach this ideal place that he constantly referred to as Canaan, right? What does Canaan look like for Kenya? And does it look that do you foresee a situation where we will still get there even without Raila?
We will get there. Because the Canaan and the struggle we have been in the wilderness, and I will speak to for example, my Luo community. My Luo community who have been in the wilderness for years and years. In fact, to us, even if Raila leaves, the spirit of struggle is in us. It's in our DNA. We have been used to be in the desert. But we've never compromised. We've always go for shelter. And we know that up to date, people still know us. And they are very sure that we are going to continue the struggle. And the struggle for my community of the Luo community is not going to stop. And it's not only the struggle for my Luo community, it's been a struggle of Kenyans pushed by some of us.
Yeah.
And it's high time the Kenyans must realize that it was never for Raila. It was never for the Luos. It was always about the Canaan we want to go. And that Canaan we want to go, Raila birthed it through the Constitution 2010. So the Constitution 2010 is the Canaan we want to go. So we know where we want to go. We have a clear roadmap how it looks like from chapter 1 to the last chapter of the Constitution. It's about us moving to the direction.
Yeah, Pidgin. You know, speaking of which now, his brand of Raila Odinga's brand of politics has included a lot of handshakes. You know, whenever there's a bit of misunderstandings, Raila would sit back and say, you know what, even Kwanzaa, if you look at whatever happened during the 2007 post-election violence, at some point he said, you know what, there's no point of us, constantly engaging in violence and in this whole misunderstanding. The best way forward is to just sit down as Kenyans, you know, for the sake of the peace and prosperity of our country. Let's have a handshake, bring everyone together, and move the country forward. So when you're talking about Canaan, does that mean we need to embrace the spirit of handshakes moving forward, really?
No. I'll say one thing. Handshakes, as I've said, were when Raila wanted a space to relax, to recoup and re-energize. Having been in this struggle for the last 60 years trying to get to that Canaan, you either die walking or sit back somewhere to take a break and wake up the next day and continue the fight. Raila has always been seeking temporary shelters so that he can re-energize and continue the struggle. And for the last 50 years, or the years he has been in politics, I'll ask you, what do Raila want in leadership? Do you think Raila really wanted the presidency? If he wanted the presidency, he could have taken it long time ago. Raila wanted the ideal Kenya, irrespective of who will be there. But he wanted Kenyans to reach there. And every time even if he has been taking his shelter, he has never forgotten to talk about that Kenya. He has never been silent to point out some few things. He even pointed out few things during the Gen Z protest. He said when the government was having issues, he even put it in his Agenda 10 when they were making the MOU that you must repay or pay for those people who were killed. And he had done what he could, but that was not the end of his journey. That was just a process to continue to the end. The end of Kenya we want is a Kenya in the Bill of Rights. A Kenya where every citizen has access to clean water, clean basic needs, talk it, water, health, education. Justice is there. Leadership is as per chapter 6 of the Constitution. The Kenya we want is a Kenya whereby the rule and the power and the sovereign power is in the hands of the people. That is the Kenya we want. And that's what I'm saying. The Kenya we want was birthed by the Constitution 2010. And that was the struggle that Raila knew, that irrespective of what it takes, the citizens have the power closest to them in their own county, in their own ward. They will never go and beg.
I want to jump in there. Pidgin, I like how you put it. The citizens have such a proper symbol of power, something that will actually guide them and free them and liberate them and empower younger Kenyans. Not just younger Kenyans, in fact, all Kenyans, the spirit of the 2010 Constitution. You know, today I was watching Kenyans mourning. Guys were in disbelief. Guys were, carrying those leaves and branches across the streets, talking about how now they're lonely. Wanajita mayatima, orphans, because Raila has passed. They feel like they're alone, right? You're saying this constitution will actually guide us and liberate us. Kenyans, some Kenyans, they don't have faith in this constitution. They don't have faith in the in the justice systems, in institutionalisms, in the political class as we know it as of right now. So what are we left with?
Raila could have never disobeyed the constitution. Raila could have never betrayed the constitution. We have problem with leaders, but not the constitution. The constitution we have, and it has proven several times, look at how many court injunctions have been taking place. Look at even when Raila himself attempted to bring a BBI, the constitution was supreme. Look at how, in fact, if it was not the rule of law, which is actually being implemented or overseen by the judiciary or read and interpreted by the judiciary, we could have not been here. If it was not the rule of law, if it was not this constitution, many Kenyans would have not been here. This constitution has ensured that everything that is more of dictatorial is impossible. This constitution. And that has been affirmed by the judiciary. You see? So, irrespective of how we think we are orphans, we are not orphans. We have a constitution that guides us and will always protect us. You remember how many times bills, proposals, actions, presidential, whatever, has been brought down by the same constitution on the basis of public participation.
Yes, yes.
And when you talk of public participation, is the public, not Raila Odinga, is the public that must approve their future. And that future is in the constitution. So we are not orphans.
Yes.
We are not. We just mourn Raila because we have lost him. But the other side, we need to turn this morning to a celebration and start to identify what good did he do for us and safeguard his struggle.
Brilliant.
Because if we understand his struggle, if we understand his achievement, and if we safeguard them, that is the canon.
You're a young man, Pidgin. You're in you're a politician. And of course, many young politicians look up to Raila, the people who are going to do what they can, including putting their lives on the line, to hold this government into account. When we talk about the opposition, now that Raila is not around, what really happens to the opposition space in Kenya moving forward? Who's likely to step up and take that leadership role, fill that void? At a time when Kenyans are really looking for, alternative leadership.
I will say again that I don't believe there's anyone who will match Raila. But there's something that will be above Raila. And I repeat it, is the constitution he gave us. It is not about who will save us. It's about what will save us. And what will save us is the constitution. And that constitution, in order to save us, is the responsibility of every citizen to ensure that they safeguard, defend, and protect it. No one will ever protect us more than that constitution. No one will ever fight for us more than that constitution. No one will ever promise us anything beyond Raila more than that constitution. It is the constitution that we must realize.
Yeah.
At the time when you're looking for who will take over, it's what will guide us.
Yeah.
And that what will guide us will unite all of us rather than focusing on who will take over. Because it has never been about who. It has always been about what.
You know, one thing I've realized, it's interesting you put it like that. You get, obviously we're moving forward to a point where it's no longer about personality politics, but issue-based. Something that's based off of the constitution, like you said. But at the same time, some people say one of the benefits of the handshakes, for example, is that it created a sense of stability in the country, right? Now, we know how crazy the electioneering process can be in this country. It creates a sense of tension, right? To a point where people now start running around and going back to their villages, just to be safe, because you never know what's going to happen, right? We have a very crazy history when it comes to post-elections. Do you think we will have stability, right, now that Raila is not here, especially when it comes to electioneering conversations, post-election conversations?
I will say that for the biggest time possible, Kenyans have fought for people, not for something. And when Kenya fought for Raila in 2007, it proved to them that it was not about him, but about something. And that's why he went to work with Mike Kibaki to show us what is necessary to fight for. And the post-election violence we had was about people, not about something. You see? Because it was the people who were fighting for SG, Kikuyu fighting for their Kibaki, and the Luos fighting for their Raila, supported by Kalenjin fighting, not about what Raila stood for.
Yeah.
And we are moving, and I think it should mark the end of politics of people to about politics of what. And for the longest time, people have also voted based on who supports Raila Odinga as an MP, as an MCA, as a governor. And then it is a space for us to look beyond Raila to what Raila stood for and to fight for what rather than who. To me, I see it's also a space to open up the mind of the people. And the citizens were already in that space where we are starting to talk about what we call issue-based. And therefore, we can never go back to who. We will always stick with what. And at this particular moment, I think the politics of Kenya is going to change completely.
Yeah.
Because for the people who still believe that the politics will be based on who rather than what,
Yes.
this is the last time they're going to earn from it.
All
They
right.
will never earn from it moving forward.
All right, hold it right there. Guys, we're gathering here not only to mourn, but to celebrate a life that shapes a nation. Raila Amolo Odinga, a son of Kenya, a voice of courage, a dreamer of freedom. And of course, right now I'm hanging out with the one and only Pidgin Odimwengu.